Welcome back, everyone, to another dicondissectional production hosted by Deathstroke9. Today, we're going to be reacting to Harry Chapin sequel, because we did Taxi a while ago, and it was really good, and today we're going to be finishing off the story. So, welcome to the channel if you're new here. My name is Daniel, aka Deathstroke9. Here we react to music. I try to figure out what the music and the lyrics mean to me personally. That's about all I have to say. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. And at the end of every video, we do research on the song. So if that's interesting to you, stay tuned for that as well. All right. Harry Chapin sequel. I've got the lyrics pulled up over here. Yeah. Not that much else to say. I'm excited to hear this one. 3, 2, 1. Taxi Driver was just awesome. So let's see how this goes.
So here she's acting happy inside her handsome home, and me, I'm flying in my taxi, taking tips and getting stoned.
Ooh, I like that background. That's supposed to be him getting stoned.
I got into town a little early, had 8 hours to kill before the show. First I thought about heading up north of the bay, then I knew where I had to go. I thought about taking a limousine, or at least a fancy car, but I ended up taking a taxi,
These lyrics are slightly
'cause that's
screwed.
how I got this far. You see, 10 years ago it was the front seat, driving stoned and feeling no pain. Now here I am straight and sitting in the back, hitting 16 Parkside Lane.
Yeah, this one's better. All right.
The driveway was the same as I remembered, and a butler came and answered the door.
Oh, I like the
He just
strings
shook
in the
his
background.
head when I asked for her, and said she doesn't live here anymore.
Such an incredible storyteller.
But he offered to give me the address that they were forwarding her letters to. I just took it and returned to the cabbie and said, I got one more fare for you.
Okay. So hold on.
And so we rolled back into the city.
Can pause it there. So he's got money now. Before he had he was kind of broke. So it says he got So here she's acting happy inside her handsome home, and I'm flying in my taxi, taking tips and getting stoned. Okay, that's where we left off. He's kind of telling us this is a sequel to that song. Now, got into town a little early, had 8 hours to kill before the show. I thought about heading up north of the bay, then I knew where I had to go. So he's still thinking about her. And a show, is he like a musician now? Or is this like a... when we looked up the song the first time, go check out the reaction to Taxi if you want to. You don't have to, but nobody's forcing you to. But that song made me cry. It was so well written. Is this gonna have a happy ending? Interesting. So it sounds like he got famous or something. So anyway, he knows where he has to go. He's going to where she used to live. So he wanted to take something fancy to kind of say, look at me, I made it. Am I good enough for you now? See, 10 years ago, it was the front seat driving stone, feeling no pain. Now here I am straight, sitting in the back. So straight as in he got his act together, hitting 16 Parkside Lane. The driveway was the same as I remembered. Still keeping it in his mind. Wow. A butler came and answered the door. He just shook his head when I asked for her and said she doesn't live here anymore. But he offered to give me the address they were forwarding her letters to. I took it and returned to the cabbie and said, I got one more fare for you. So he's obviously got some money now. Let's keep going. This is awesome.
And so we rolled back into the city, up to a 5-story old brownstone. I rang the bell, it had her name on the mailbox. The buzzer said somebody's home.
Nice drums there.
And the look on her face as she opened the door was like an old joke
like
told by a friend. It'd taken 10 more years, but she'd found her smile, and I watched the corners start to bend. And she said, "How are you, Harry? Haven't we played this scene before?" I said, "It's so good to see you, Sue. Had to play it out just once more. Play it out just once more."
Yo, one more try. Let's go, guys. Ugh. That's awesome.
She said, "I've heard you flying high on my radio." I answered, "It's not all it seems." That's when she laughed and she said, "It's better sometimes when we don't get to touch our dreams."
Wow, that's deep. The sequel we didn't know we wanted, or I didn't know I wanted.
That's when I asked her, where was that actress? She said that was somebody else. And then I asked her why she looked so happy now. She said, "I finally like myself. At last I like myself."
Wow. Wow, this makes me so happy.
So we talked all through that afternoon, talking about where we'd been. We talked of the tiny difference between ending and starting to begin. We talked 'cause talking tells you things like what you really are thinking about. But sometimes you can't find what you're feeling till all the words run out.
Wow. The words, not word. It says on this stupid article.
So I asked her to come to the concert. She said, "No, I work at night."
Oh, no.
I said, "We gotten too damn good at leaving Sue." She said, "Harry, you're right." Don't ask me if I made love to her or which one of us started to cry.
Oh, wow. Are they not going to get
Don't ask
together?
me why she wouldn't take the money that I left. If I answered it all, I'd lie.
Oh, that's sad.
So I thought about her as I sang that night, and of how the circle keeps rolling around. How I act as I'm facing the footlights, and how she's flying with both feet on the ground. I guess it's a sequel to our story from the journey between heaven and hell, with half the time thinking of what might have been, and half thinking just as well. I guess only time will tell.
Wow. That was awesome. Okay. Let me think about this. So, it sounded like he met her again, and then let's take a look at some of these lyrics right over here. So he went to her place and started talking to her. She's like, it's better sometimes when we don't get to touch our dreams. That's when I asked her, where was that actress? She said, that was somebody else. I finally like myself. It's almost like 'cause she's alone, she likes herself. And then he makes a try, really. So they talk through the afternoon, talking about where we'd been, talking of the tiny, tiny difference between ending and starting to begin. We talk because talking tells you things, like what you really are thinking about. But sometimes you can't find what you're feeling until all the words run out. That's so profound, wow. So, and here's where it's like, he tries one more time. He's like, come to the concert, come with me. She says, no, I work at night. We've gotten too damn good at leaving, Sue. She said, Harry, you're right. Now, don't ask me if we made love, if we started to cry. Don't ask me why she wouldn't take the money that I left. If I answered at all, I'd lie. So I just thought about her as I sang that night, and how the circle keeps rolling around, and how now I act as I'm facing the footlights, and how she's flying with both feet on the ground. I guess it's a sequel to our story, from the journey between heaven and hell, with half the time thinking of what might have been, and half the time thinking, it's just as well. It's better this way. I guess only time will tell. Such a beautiful story. Now let's see if Songfacts has anything to add. Charted number 23 in the US. Oh, it's off the album sequel. A lot of people were taken by Chapin's 1972 hit ballad Taxi and the story of its characters. Harry, a taxi driver, and his ex-lover Sue, now a successful but unhappy actress who he picks, well, is not actually an actress, when he picks her up in the taxi he's driving. So years later, Chapin did the sequel using the same music while continuing the story. The song peaked at number 23, spurred by fans of the original. Sadly, Chapin's life didn't continue. He died in an automobile accident in 1981. This was his last hit. That's really sad. Sandy Chapin, who was married to Harry, wrote a lot of poetry, which Harry would turn into songs. Cats in the Cradle is a good example. She explains how this song came about. I'm pretty sure I gave him the idea. I was thinking of a novel that I had read. This was all a very long time ago, you know. I think it was by Graham Greene, an English writer. But anyway, it was like a turnaround in a relationship. There was a relationship where one of the two people was much stronger and the sort of caretaker of the other. Then the tables were turned and the woman became the stronger person, and so forth. So with that idea, I said, wouldn't it be interesting to see what happened to these people, maybe 20 years later? So I just tossed out that idea. And as usual, Harry was on the road, busy doing other things. And at one point he said, why don't you try to write it? I didn't do anything with it. Then he sat down and wrote the sequel. Alrighty then. That's Harry Chapin's sequel. Harry Chapin's masterful storyteller. One of my favorite storytellers we've reacted to on the channel. Mainly because I like the longer songs, you know? Harry Chapin seems to have some of the longest storytelling songs that we've heard so far. Other than, of course, Alice's Restaurant. Alright. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this sequel to my taxi video. And yeah, let me know what else by Harry Chapin or any other singer-songwriters I should do. Thank you very, or anybody really. And thank you very much for joining me. Deathstroke 9 out. See you guys soon. We are Legion. And yeah, that's about all.